we can see that in others, and we can tell others, hey, you need to do this. You need to change. You need to stop doing that. You need to do this. But we won't do it ourselves, and we won't do it when it really matters. Hi, my name's Devin. Today I own several multi-million-dollar companies. We started with $5,000 in a credit card. I don't know the easy way. I only know the hard way. Hey everyone, welcome to the Whiteboard Entrepreneur podcast, where I give straightforward advice to fuel the entrepreneur in all of us. I'm Devin Dickinson, and today I want to talk to you about the pain of change. The pain of change. And so a lot of you be like, oh crap, I don't want to listen to this one because there's a bunch of stuff I need to change. Well, yeah, that's true. That's true in all of our lives. I'm going to tell you a story, and I think it's especially true in our professional lives. I had these accountants, right, that I got when I started my very, very, very first business. And even at the time I could tell, I don't think these people are long-term players. I don't think they're really that great at their job, but they were nice, they were priced right, they were approachable. I was not intimidated by them, which at the time I didn't know anything about anything. So that kind of meant something. And anyways, I just started using them. Well, as time progressed, they eventually ended up selling. And so now they were with a new company, and this new company was even worse. And I mean, at this point, literally, they were D- at best. I mean, they were unacceptable. But I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to change because I had so much history with these people. So when you have history with employees, you have history with vendors, you have history with a business, you have history, you could probably also say habit, right? It was an easy habit to just stay with them, the history. And I just did not want to change because I thought, you know what? They've done our books, they've done our taxes for years and years and years. And in order for me to change, I'm going to have to go and explain everybody all of this new stuff. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. It's going to be so painful to change that I would rather work with these people who are D- players. I know aren't doing a good job. My taxes could even be wrong, but I would rather do that than go through the pain of change, right? And breaking my old habits. And I got eventually it got to the point where they were, at one point they were doing a company, and now all of a sudden I have multiple companies. They were doing, a property. Now there's all of a sudden multiple properties. And so all of a sudden now I have a D- player against all of these assets. And I'm going, all right, this is now irresponsible on me. I have to make a change. And so guess what? I procrastinated even more. I procrastinated even another maybe year or two. And then finally they did something that was just I blew up. I lost it. And I was finally all right, I'm changing. And you know what? When I did it, it was super easy. And I was so happy I did it. But well, no, that's not true. It was just as painful, maybe even more painful than I thought to change. It was so painful to go back because I had to go vet a new firm. So I had to vet all these different firms. And I had to interview them and all the time, and then explaining to each and every one, and then getting quoted, and then finding out how expensive it was going to be, and all of these things. And then once I finally chose someone, once I was willing to pay a lot more than I was paying before, now I had to go back and tell them all the history and go through all of these different companies and properties and blah, 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 all the stuff. And it was freaking painful. It took probably the better part of a year to transition everything over. And oh my gosh, was it a nuisance? It was such a nuisance. But let me tell you what I learned. Number one, today, I'm so glad I did it. The other thing I learned is I wish that I had not procrastinated. I wish I had done it years earlier, because even though that would have been painful, it would have been far less painful than over here when there was more companies, more projects, more assets, more of all these other things. It would have been way easier if I had dealt with it earlier, right? And instead I had to deal with it later, which made it even more painful. But you're the one, right? It became irresponsible of me not to make that change. And so right now I'm talking to you, and I could be talking to you about vendor relationships. I could be talking to you about a business that needs to change. I could be talking to you about employees. I could be talking to you about relationships. One of the analogies I always think that sports is such a unique picture of life, and I'm a coach. And we were talking earlier, because these habits get ingrained inside of us when we're kids, when we're younger, because you could play on a crappy team with a crappy coach and it could be dysfunctional and nobody could like each other and you guys could always be losing. But by habit and the unwillingness to change, you stay in that environment because you're afraid of going to a tryout at another club where you don't know anybody. And so we get these habits ingrained on us as kids, and as adults, we look at it and go, he's just afraid to change. Oh, she's just afraid to change. And then we look at ourselves and go, oh, wait, maybe I'm afraid of change. And so we can see this on kids and we can see this on others where people won't make the required changes in their lives to grow professionally, to grow in relationships, to grow in whatever it is that you need to grow in because you won't change. And we can see that in others, and we can tell others, hey, you need to do this. You need to change. You need to stop doing that. You need to do this. But we won't do it ourselves, and we won't do it when it really matters. And I had these players, like I said, they were like a D-. How irresponsible of me was that to have that and allow it. And I'm the only one that can do that. Nobody else could go and make that change other than me. And I'm also the only one that had to deal with the pain of it. But hiding from these issues prohibits your growth. So people say all the time, well, Devin, hey, well, can't they get better? Couldn't those accountants have gotten better? Couldn't you have held them more accountable? So isn't that part of your responsibility along the way? And I would say you're absolutely right. I should have held them way more accountable. And I think there's a lot of situations where that's what you need to do. You need to hold people accountable, and maybe you'll drive that change over time. Right? What I'm talking about is a situation where you have held people accountable and there is no change. Now, you also have to understand, and I had to look at these people and go, wow, even if they do change, they're going to go from like D- to D+. And that's still unacceptable. So that's part of it too. Like understand like, hey, that's great. You can change. Maybe there's something here that there's some way to grow this relationship, or there's something to do, but the ceiling, like you are so far below the bar, and it is going to take you so long to get where I need to be that we need to make this change now. As I'm telling you this right now, I know that there's something right now that's like probably 2 or 3 things going off in your head of things that need to change right now. You must deal with it. Maybe it's hold them accountable. Maybe it's, hey, it's time to cut the cord. Whatever it is, now's the time to deal with this. If you deal with this now, it will change your business. It will change your relationships. It will change your life. These are the hard conversations, and that's why you listen to this podcast, for the hard things in life. I only know the hard way. I'm Devin. This is a Whiteboard Entrepreneur podcast, and I know this is going to help you.